Jordan Clarkson gets the first triple-double for the Utah Jazz since 2008. They shut down Luka Doncic, and the Jazz blow out the Dallas Mavericks. Welcome to 2024. POSTCAST is coming next here with David Locke, along with Ron Boone.
You are Locked On Jazz, your daily podcast on the Utah Jazz. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
David Locke, along with Ron Boone, as the Utah Jazz defeat the Dallas Mavericks tonight. The story, the headliner, and there's a lot in the game to talk about. The headline is Jordan Clarkson gets the Jazz first triple-double in 5,800 days. The first triple-double in 1,256 games. First triple-double for the Jazz in a span that had 1,204 other triple-doubles across the NBA. And 165 players doing that before Carlos Boozer's triple-double for Jordan Clarkson. Fun night. Crowd was into it. Jordan was into it. And the players were well aware, we talked to Simone Fontecchio afterwards, that the triple-double curse existed.
Yeah, they were trying to get him rebounds, and as you mentioned, kept stealing the basketball and with turnovers and that type of thing. And he's kind of worried about it, but obviously, you don't want to force anything like that. You want it to be natural. And I thought the rebound that he got was just was it Fontecchio that was close to him?
Yep.
And ends up coming up with the rebound that was totally awesome.
There is something ironic, as Andrew Jones just pointed out in our chat room, that we did it against Luka, who basically averages a triple-double, and we're acting like it's a big deal. Luka must have been sitting over there going like, what's the big deal out of this? The number, though, that jumps out is not Jordan Clarkson's triple-double. That is awesome. But the number that jumps out is 37 assists by the Utah Jazz. When I asked Will Hardy before the night started, what has changed about the Utah Jazz? What has changed who you are as a team? We're going on. Why are the Jazz better? And he said, we're a more cohesive group. We're moving the basketball. It makes everyone feel a part of it. We're connected right now, and we are seeing that.
Yeah, it's beautiful basketball. And guys like me love to see that type of thing come from an era, as I just mentioned earlier, where the passing game was probably the other than set plays, was the number one offense. I mean, ball movement, push the ball up the floor, cutters, back screens, that type of thing. And now you're seeing just it's a different version, but they're still getting it done.
Tonight, let's go to the very start of the game offensively. Scott Morrison shared with us that, hey, we got to get Luka involved. We got to try to see. And he said, hey, we haven't done a good job of that. And it's often off-ball action and recognizing things in transition and doing that. And we have not been good at doing that. We did not do it well against Zion in New Orleans. We've struggled with this all year. And then Sean Sheldon at halftime said we were really good at it early. We got less good as the game went on. It seemed like they came back out the third quarter and did get Luka involved almost every play defensively. It's what allowed Simone to have a big night with 24 points tonight. It's another just big-time sign of growth from the Jazz team.
Well, you put together a game plan. It's not going to work for 48 minutes. I mean, the other teams are smart enough. Luka's smart enough, to change up some things and to try to take whatever the Jazz are doing out of the, the system. But you just come back with something else. It's like a playoff game, David, where you beat a team, and now you got to anticipate what counter they're going to come with and try to be ready for it. And so I think, Jazz had a game plan, and they stuck with it, and good reward.
All right, we came in on our broadcast talking about Luka and all the things he does well. One of the things we did point out was that this year he had not made the step-back left three shot. He was 6 of 28 on the drives when he took a three going left, which is his step-back three. I believe he was 0 for 6 on that tonight. He finished the night 3 of 13 from 3, 8 of 20, and the Jazz game plan was to force him left. He couldn't be – that really opens up that step-back. He didn't make it, but they also forced him left seemingly. They really did force him left almost every possession.
Yeah, and the thing about that step-back going to his left, we see the highlights on TV. That's the one they show. So you really don't see how many he's missed and how he's struggling shooting that step back three going to his left. But, when you put together a game plan and you go with your numbers and hopefully he doesn't have one of those nights where, everything's going in. But you go with your numbers. Jazz went with it. it worked for them tonight, and he goes 3 for 13 from the 3-point line.
Jazz 37-point first quarter. They led by 11 after one. They actually never gave back the lead at any point. There were 9 lead changes. I believe all of them happened in the first quarter. This was really a dominating performance by the Utah Jazz.
Yeah, they made the Dallas Mavericks made a little run in that second quarter, and Jazz were outscored by 4, 29-25. But come out in that third quarter, jump back right on top of them, outscored them 31-24, and from that point on, I didn't think the Jazz had a chance of losing. Because I thought they were very much in control of the basketball game, and as you mentioned earlier, probably in that early fourth quarter, it's like the Mavericks say, hey, we're not going to win this. They quit.
I want to go back to where we started the broadcast tonight. I opened the broadcast with you asking you, we have a kind of fun joke that you always have the bellwether of what the fans are saying in town because you go to the gym, you're on the treadmill, and everyone comes up and talks to you because you are Ron Boone, and you can't really hide in this town. And I asked you, so if I'd come up to you and asked you, why are the Jazz better? Let's go to that. What has happened here? The Jazz have now won they've won 5 of 6. They've won 8 of 11. They've won 7 of 8 at home. And they just beat Miami and Dallas, who are both really good.
Confidence is everything. And trusting the system is another. And then again, when things are going right, you're winning, then you run with it. And players are trusting each other. Passing the basketball. You mentioned 37 assists. It's no secret that, the Jazz got 37 assists the way they're playing right now, especially when they're getting the type of offensive production that they're getting and the type of shots that they're getting. But, you just have to trust in what Will is saying right now. And because he talks to the players confide in him. They watch film. So they just have been able to bite into what the system or what, well, let's put it this way, they're biting into what the game plan is for that particular ball game. And then, you can go from there.
The zone defense was implemented about the exact same time as things changed on this. And it's not, they were running it 50, 60 times a game. They're now running it much far fewer. But what did it do that seemingly ignited the team defensively to have improved overall defensive activity?
How many players, since we started the zone, have really got into so much serious foul trouble that they've had to?
Almost none.
Yeah. And so
our fouls are way down since we've gone to the zone.
Right. And so that's what the zone does. And then when you're getting stops and you're keeping teams from scoring in the paint. Now, true enough, not like college, where you can you play a zone, you pack it in, and you're forced to shoot 3-point shots or outside shots. But the way the Jazz system and the way the league is refereed now, there's spacing, and the Jazz are doing a great job of covering up.
The Jazz are unique in that, and Will talked about this pregame, that there's no question who the best player of the team is. But we could have a long, extensive debate, and I've talked about this on Locked On Jazz a lot, that who our second best player is. It's not clear at all. And we could ask 50 people and get 10 answers. Correct. Of who our second. Jordan obviously would get the argument tonight, but Colin would have got it the night before, and I would probably vote Kelly. It just changes, and Walker's been playing great. So, and when the season started, most people probably would have taken Walker. So there's a uniqueness to this group in that sense, that there's no natural hierarchy. And right now that is gelling together. What's also interesting is in the last 2 games, which are probably the 2 best wins of the season, Lowry has not been a dominating force. If you were to tell me that we were going to beat Miami and Dallas, I would think Lowry would have to have 30 plus for us to be able to do that.
Yeah. Well, you just hit it on the head there, is that, from night to night, other than Lowry, someone else is going to step up. Lowry has been consistent enough and much of a threat. They have to pay a lot of attention to him. But, you got Colin Sexton, who's been on fire. What was it? He's been averaging 23 something here in the last 6 games or somewhere in there. Then Jordan Clarkson, who can catch fire at any time. And then the player that's coming on and being a force and reliable out there on the floor is Simone.
Let's talk about him.
Really making a big difference, and not just shooting the basketball. I mean, he's his ability to shoot the 3 and get it off quickly has really changed the way teams are going to have to defense the Utah Jazz.
We went to break tonight. I literally go, Ron, Simone is really good.
Yeah,
he's really good.
Yeah. And so and with that, and especially in the starting lineup, now getting 24, 25 minutes of ball game, we can see exactly what he can do. What about rebounding? I mean, he rebounds very well. And you mentioned he's 6'7". He's pretty good defensive player there as well.
One of the big moments of the year was when Will Hardy decided to start Simone Fontecchio to see if he could defend better than Ochai Agbaji because he was 3 inches taller, and he shut down Brandon Ingram, then a few nights later shut down Desmond Bane. He also had another block tonight. His athleticism is so much more than people realize, and he also is a guy that can also make the drive to the basket and not just be solely a shooter. I mean, he mentioned the Italian national team being valuable to him coming off the surgery this year because he got to play, but I think it's also valuable to him that he has to score in a cadre of ways for him in those games that he's then able to use out in an NBA setting when teams run him off the three-point line and things of that sort.
Yeah, and it speaks for itself right now the way he's playing. I know earlier in the year we had talked to Will Hardy. He talked about wanting Agbaji to be that defensive stopper, that guy that can get in the face of the top players on the other teams, but he just doesn't have the height. Right. And he might have good positioning, but Simone is probably, and him and Chris Dunn might be probably the better defensive players on the team.
Before we hand out our stars, let's talk about Walker for a second. Last 10 games coming in, guys were shooting 19 percentage points below league average inside 6 feet when he's the defender. He's now the number 1 defender inside 6 feet in the NBA. He was dominant again tonight around the rim.
Yeah, and this is some of the comments that he's made, that he wants to get back to playing the way he did last year. And all that is, David, is an adjustment to what the teams are starting to play against him now. He has to figure out what's different defensively against him, and what they're doing to keeping him off the glass, or maybe they're not challenging him so much at the rim, and so you feel like you're not involved if you're not blocking shots. But those are adjustments that are made. Coaches can put him in position out on the floor, but he's got to do it himself.
Biggest stunner to me tonight, they just broke Dallas. Dallas quit. Dallas quit with about 7-8. I mean, I can't blame them. They're on a long road trip. They're home for 7 straight, but they quit 7-8 minutes left in this game because the Jazz just broke them.
Yeah, they get a chance to go home and get healthy, figuratively speaking, because there's a couple of guys with a couple of injuries there as well. But, they don't have 7 consecutive games there at home, so we'll see what happens with them. Right now, they were tied with New Orleans for first place in the Southwestern Division. With New Orleans not playing tonight, it's all Pelicans.
Well, Pelicans now move to 6. Dallas moves to 7. Yeah. With that loss, Jazz are actually walking toward 10th. We can start talking about it here if they keep playing like this. Though we got a tough one. Detroit on Wednesday, but then the next 3 after that are all road games against the best teams in the East. Ron?
I'm going with Jordan Clarkson. Why not? I mean, might as well give it to him.
All right,
and then
else?
I'm going Kessler.
You're going Kessler instead of Simone?
Instead of Simone, I'm going Kessler.
I'm going Simone.
Okay.
I thought the opening moment of the game where he just made those plays, hit those shots against Luka set the tone for the whole night.
Yeah.
All right. That is our stars for the night. Lacey's going to total it up for you. I'll give an update on that. Talk to you everyone soon. Thank you very much. Have a great first Locked On Jazz. We'll be back with you tomorrow. A lot to talk about. Really crazy stuff going on with the Jazz. See you. We now send you over to the first ever 24/7 national sports stream on YouTube, Locked On Sports Today.